Hello and welcome to this video, which today is filmed in my hometown of Hebden Bridge, West Yorkshire, and the site I'm going to visit is one I've known about for most of the many years that I've lived here. It's the town's old dump site. I'm not entirely sure when it was actually in use, probably the late 1800s to the 1930s, but 30 years ago it was very heavily dug by bottle diggers. The owner of the land apparently allowed anyone at all to dig there, if they were courteous enough to ask for permission first. The digging kinda tapered away to nothing. I'm assuming that's because the easy to find good finds were found, and the effort needed to find more became greater than the potential rewards. The site then grew a thick covering of vegetation, including lots of thorns, nettles and giant hogweed. But recently I drove past and saw that a lot of the vegetation has been cleared, and there are some fresh looking bottle digger holes there. So I'm going to take a look, see what the bottle diggers and other mudlarks might have left lying around. Before I enter the site, I must appease the guardians. Today I have offerings of flapjack. If I'd known they were going to accost me, I'd have brought something more appropriate for waterfowl. They're not really supposed to have sugar, but she is very hungry and probably just about to lay eggs. If so, she'll sit on them for weeks, barely taking a break to find food. The male is dutifully protecting her by hissing at me. I don't mind. I've never feared these big birds, not even the huge domesticated geese that are too fat to fly and are quite insanely aggressive. They come at me all hissing and honking, and I can't help but laugh. I don't think it'd be remotely funny if a human acted like that to me, but geese? Absolutely. Strange that I can dissociate my human values from the geese and their aggressive bravado, but still get upset when they bully other geese. The sky is currently a wonderful blue, but it is very changeable, with rain and even the possibility of thunderstorms forecast for later. There were 3 thunderstorms yesterday. Stonemason's yard. Don't think I've ever seen it so tidy. They must have a big job on. It looks set up for efficiency. Now, this old mill is now apartments and houses, and at least one of the people who lives here is a keen mudlarker. There's even one of these kitchen windowsills. I won't film it, it's somebody's home, which has a nice display of vintage stoneware and glass bottles. So, it's very likely that other mudlarks will have visited the site before me, it being right next to this mill, and me not having driven this way in a few months. So I'm not expecting to find very much, but exploring is still fun for me, and few finds equals an easy clean-up. The canal is looking very pretty today. Where we're going, less so. There has been talk for many years of turning the old dump site into a car park. The town is very popular with tourists and often falls a few dozen car parking spaces short. I do wonder if that is why most of the vegetation has finally been cut back. Big pile of soil, nothing interesting poking out. This is more or less what was covering most of the site. The bottle digger holes that I saw from the car are 50 metres or so further, but I won't go straight there. I'll have a look around. This looks like feet have trodden it down into almost a path. Let's see where it goes. This way is the river, and it's pretty high after a few weeks of rain every day, so I don't think there'll be many spots along the bank that I can get to, although I think I will try. I see common bistort, and I smell wild garlic. There are a few bits of pottery which I cannot tell whether they came from this dump site or were dropped by the river here. There aren't many little beaches on this section usually, and the river is probably above where most of them may be revealed, but there is at least one feature that interests me over here that I spotted from the other side. It's the mouth of a culvert, and I haven't been able to find out where it starts, or what body of water it carries. Not sure what plant this was. Kind of has the look of raspberry canes about it. No bottle digger holes in this, so may as well go around. I can just now see the fresh turned earth of a new bottle digger hole, and conveniently there's a path. These don't look like new holes, but similarly don't quite look like old holes either. Maybe a year or two. Seems that bottle digging might not have been quite so dormant here as I thought. Does look fairly picked over, but somewhere there will be something appealing to me. Blue milk glass, not a colour I like. An intact bottle, looks like a Heinz salad cream or similar. Another intact bottle, but quite sickly looking glass. Some nice vibrant blue there. Floral pattern. Nah, I'll leave it. I think I have more than enough of a project I have in mind. A bit of gilding there. I'm not usually a fan of gilding, but this one though, I don't mind it. Might even quite like it. Looks to be an image of a clover plant, 3 leaves rather than the lucky 4. I'll take it. Another pit, another bottle. It's a tablespoons, not quite as common as teaspoon bottles, but still one I have too many duplicates of at home. Another sherd of blue and white. Nah. Now this looks recent, and it's a very big pit for such a small number of left behind bottles. That doesn't mean the bottle digger didn't find anything good, but suggests it as a strong possibility. A James Simpson, and also a James Simpson, different design though. Actually, not really much design, and if I'm going to take broken cod bottles to cut down, I want them to have pictorial branding, or at least writing that doesn't cross the only viable cut points. In this entire pit, the only bit of copper or copper alloy that I can see is the nails in this hobnail boot. I have taken hobnail boots like this before and done nothing with them, neither displaying them or extracting the copper. Gosh, that's a pretty big shoulder bone of a cow, just sitting in the undergrowth away from the rest of the spoil pile. Maybe the digger was a vegetarian and didn't want the reminder of butchery in sight while he, or she, or they worked. It's a mug with geometric patterns and shapes. Don't think I've seen one like it before. A bit too broken to fix. Now that is gorgeous. It's like an oil sheen on a puddle. I'm taking it, and if the iridescence remains after I clean it, I'll cut it down and sand the edges and put stuff in it. Possibly my pens. Another fresh spoil pile. Oh wow, whoever did this is hardcore. They dug a trench under a hawthorn tree. The thorns are inch-long savage scratchers and stabbers. I think I'll have to get down into it to see if there's anything left. And looks like a fair few more bottle digger holes after this one. Down beneath the thorns, some blue glass. Pretty. Part of a very large bottle, I'm guessing. Maybe bleach or ammonia, something like that. I do hope to try bead making sometime, and this would make lovely colour beads. The same colour though as the bead maker's glass rods I already have. But can I have too much gorgeous cobalt blue glass for projects? I think not. Button. This I'll take. The tiny slug I'll gently remove. I wonder if I could get permission to do a dig here. Not entirely sure who owns the land now. It used to be the person who owned the historic clog factory, the abandoned building of which burned down 18 or so months ago. I think the land there was then sold to a developer. Perhaps this land too. I know I've turned down blue and white floral pattern already today, but teal and white, and it's flat, so good for projects. And a bit of blue and white floral. Oh, aren't I mercurial? A bit of an old school slate with squares etched in it, used before paper became cheap enough to be given to children for their lessons. I think I regret not taking a whole one I found at a different dump site. A small piece of one will do. Vase for a single stem. Odd coloured glass. Interesting, but not something I'll take. That's got some of the same motifs as willow pattern, but it's not, and it's the blurriest rendition of not willow pattern I've seen in a long time. Anything. Thought the rain might have revealed some things poking out of the side of the pit walls and the spoil piles, but I'm not seeing much. Bit of ironwork and an insulator, not one I'm familiar with. If it was good condition, I'd take it for Richard Sterridge, who's a collector and a talented artist. Manufactured by James Simpson. Small town dump sites do have advantages over the bigger ones, but brand variety isn't usually one of them. Little black glass button, I think, missing the shank. Shaped like a jewel though. I like it. Bit of pictorial transferware. Not sure what it's depicting though. Mountains, maybe. Is that an umbrella? I think so. And that's pretty interesting, the way it's rotting, starting to look like hair. Chintzy teapot spout. Oh, now that's a shame. This very broken boat inkwell is actually the most complete one I've ever found. Bottle diggers often find them, mudlarkers sometimes, and me not so far. One day, with enough patience, many of the bucket list finds eventually are found. It's another flower vase, blue and yellowy green glass this time. Ooh, that's not a James Simpson. It's an A.S.M.R Brothers XL, registered Union Street, Halifax. I do have a few of these, but still nice to see a bit of variety. More Victorian graph paper. I wonder which option is actually the most ecologically sound. Slate, which was probably mined with tools but few machines in Wales. Paper, which takes in carbon dioxide as the tree grows and puts out oxygen, but is often grown in monoculture plantations very bad for biodiversity. Or computer screens, which contain rare earth minerals mined in dreadfully polluting ways. I reckon perhaps the slate. Interesting lump of cast iron. Certainly looks like the diameter of an old drain, but the crenellations around the top and bottom, and the shower head-like filter, and a narrow bore channel into the top. Can't quite imagine how this would fit together with a drain. Tried to flip it and dropped it. Works with bottles, not with big lumps of iron. It is certainly an odd piece, but the scale of the job to clean it up is putting me off taking it. Suggestions for what I could do with it are still welcome, and a good enough one will prompt me to return and collect it if it's still here. Some nice iridescence, but doesn't go all the way around, and there's just as much glass thickness as there is nice iridescence. I really don't mind that I'm not finding much that I want. I'm just enjoying the bird song and being outside, just looking and seeing if I can spot anything is part of the fun of this hobby. I'm idly thinking now of who else might wish to film here. Let's go with the Johnsons perhaps, Docking Bay 51. The window of opportunity is slim, the nettles and thorns and hogweed are regrowing fast, but maybe come late autumn it will have died back a bit. The risk, of course, of waiting that long is that the land might get bulldozed if the long-debated car park is actually being planned. Ackroyd, WA, Crossley, Halifax. Nah. Right, anything hiding amongst this pile of thorny branches? Leather, boot. That's quite pretty. Pearlescent, duck egg blue, very thin glass, very hard to cut down. Another bit of a boat ink suggests they might be quite common here, and were I to dig, I might find an intact one. Little blue poison bottle. Broken, such is life, but it's not actually a poison bottle. The chlorodyne, a medicine originally used to treat cholera, contained opium, cannabis and chloroform. Not exactly effective against the illness, but effective against pain and diarrhea, and as a sedative. I know that because I found one before, and I might be mistaken, but I think it was when I was out mudlarking with Nicola White, and she found one too. We both found lead elephants that day as well. I think I might have seen all the recent pits now, by no means all of the older ones, but they're mostly overgrown. There's almost always something that I find free of when I visit old dump sites. Today it's fragments of narrow single-stem glass vases. I like it, but just wouldn't likely do anything with it if I took it. The blue is gone. Doesn't smell like rain is coming just yet though. Certainly can't always smell impending rain, but the current spring downpours are quite distinctive. Ah, 2022 expiration date. Cobra beer bottle. Quite a pretty thing though, lots of detail, palm trees and weighing scales. And an elephant. I love elephants, so although I'm here for vintage things, this is something I think I'll take. Might look nice cut down, and can be used for something. Candle maybe. In case you're wondering why it's not a bag for life today, I've used all the ones I have recently, and they're already full up with finds, most of them still in the back of the car. Last lockdown I ran out of films to put out. I don't want that to happen again, plus I'm enjoying getting out and about so much. Nice jar, I like it. The colour, the proportions, gonna take it. That too, if it's in good condition. Somebody told me that these were milk bottles, and somebody else said that they were pickle jars. I don't know which, if either, but I like them. This here is the mouth of the culvert, and the smell of wild garlic is gorgeous, if you like garlic, and I do, very much so. Well, that's surprising. Most culverts I find are quite silted up, and if there is water running it's shallow, but this is deep, so waders needed if I want to explore it. Do I though? Some wire. Well, the sheath from some wire. I'll take it, remove the plastic. And a piece of clay pipe stem. Haven't seen any at all in the dumpsite soil, so is this culvert washing stuff out of a dump, or somewhere else? If it goes far enough, it'll reach and perhaps go under the canal. That's the rest of it. Wonder if it'll be shallower in the summer, and perhaps then Caroline and Phil might bravely explore it with me. Shouldn't really attempt such things alone. Just taking a moment to enjoy my surroundings. Lovely smell. I'm going to try and stick to the edge as I make my way back, see if the river has dropped anything interesting in the few little places that aren't currently underwater. About About 20 metres downstream, I found some copper. A very unusual dump site in how little of it there was. Makes me think there might be another mudlarker collecting it. Some bare copper wire. Nice, just how I like to find it. Just walking the wall edge, and I found a little depression that's caught some stuff. A bit of lead. A bottle. Quite amazing that it's holding together with so many cracks. Compo, which was a cold remedy. Piece of stoneware. Not sure what it was. Ridged pottery. Anything else? Ironwork. I was hoping for copper or brass, so just for lead today. A bit more lead. Some plastic, just have to balance my bag, so hopefully it doesn't fall into the river. Was just setting off again and spotted this. A coin. No great age to it. I think it's an old style pound coin. The new style arrived only recently in 2017. Wow, 1983. That's actually the first year this style was minted. Not particularly valuable, but probably above face value to collectors. Wonder how long it's been sitting right there. Fairly sizable chunk of a flagon, not the bit with writing on, unfortunately. Curses, not much damage it can do here, but I'd hoped it hadn't made it this far upstream. Japanese knotweed. Long train, by UK standards anyway, maybe 200 metres long, taking wood chips I think to a biomass power station that a friend of mine's husband had a big part in designing. They live in Cadiz now, sun, sea in a beautiful ancient Spanish city. Concrete, I think. I forgot I have with me some polarizing sunglasses, kindly bought for me off my Amazon wishlist. Might help me see anything interesting beneath this peat particle-filled water. Lid, most of all, off an old teapot. Plain. Patterned. Don't think I'll take it, but still a bit interesting. Oh, Victorian floor tiles, of the sort used in entrance halls. I like it. I think that's the extent of the shallow wadable water here, and it hasn't rained yet, and the blue sky is back, for now. I thought it was plastic, but for a nice change it is a flower petal. And I've spotted another piece of clay pipe stem. No pipe bowl on this outing, no marbles, no bottle stoppers, but a coin, some bottles, some copper and some plastic removed from the river. Not too bad. I think this is going to be the last little accessible bit of a riverbank along this dump site. A lot of rocks, and rocks catch things. Brass. The nozzle off either an oxyacetylene welding torch or a MAP gas blowtorch, I think. Plain tile. Oh, spongeware tile. Don't see that very often. And looks like there might be a bottle down here. Surrounded by sharp fragments. Feels like it might be intact. It is. A plain wine bottle, of the sort still sold. Oh well. Ha! This must be the third larking video in a row where I found carrots in the stream. This is a completely different stream, actually a river this time. Still don't know why they get thrown into the water, although perhaps by the time I've released this video, somebody will have offered a plausible explanation on one of the previous videos. Along with potential treasures for rocks catch trash too. Polystyrene, horrible texture to touch, squeaky like fingernails down a blackboard. Body spray bottle, and a wax candle. Unusual, but I'll take it. Might be useful. In this little gap between stones, I found iron first, and then beneath it a nice chunk of brass. This is the iron thing I found, an old bolt block. I think it's quite damaged, and there might not be much actual metal remaining, but I'm inclined towards taking it and seeing how it cleans up with electrolysis. Anything else beneath the slate? Broken glass, broken tile, and a chunk of rust which probably contains the remains of an iron bolt. I think this one is too far gone. Oh well. I think that's it for this outing. I hope you've enjoyed watching along. And now, roundup time. That was a crazy day. After I finished filming there, I went to another site, filmed another episode, got rained on. I was prepared with a raincoat, so it was okay, and quite nice actually. And then another site after that. The third site I wasn't expecting to find much, so it was just going to be a very short video for Ko-fi, turned into another full episode with nice finds and quite a nice sunset. I was exhausted for 2 days afterwards. Oh well, those will probably be the next 2 videos after this one. They won't be uploaded any sooner just because I filmed them all in one day. My days of releasing 3 videos in 3 days are behind me. I've just got too many other projects on the go, including plans for another previously unmentioned YouTube channel, which my girlfriend and I came up with the idea for while driving back from Scotland, where we had a nice break and I filmed a few more videos. Anyway, as I expected, that dump site is heavily dug. There wasn't a lot left, but it was still fun for me to explore a place that I've not explored before. Such places are now becoming scarcer for me, at least within my local area, which does mean more repeat visits for new explores, simply because I can apparently film 3 local site visits in a day when there's enough daylight for it, and one further away takes a whole day. For finds, a few pieces of pottery, a few bits of pipe stem, a coin, and 2 very different buttons. I like the buttons, they're 2 of the nicest ones I've found. The broken bottle with all over iridescence broke further, and now I think, as well as it needing to be cut down, we'll also need some kintsugi. I'm not giving up on it yet. It might be a very modern beer bottle, but this is a beautiful amber colour and would certainly make a nice pen holder, or candle perhaps. The possibly pickle bottle will supplant another in my collection that's not quite as good condition. I only want a row of 3 of them. And the jar is my favourite find from that site, and my favourite glass thing I found in quite a while. I just like the colour and the simple shape of it. No copper or brass in the dump site, but the river provided, along with a bit of lead and some mildly interesting iron that I might try to clean up one day, perhaps in a dedicated video with some of the other interesting iron things I've been gathering. That's the finds, and now the thank yous. First, a big thank you to everyone who's liked, disliked, commented on and shared my videos. It all helps and is very much appreciated. A super big thank you to the people who've donated money through Ko-fi. The generosity I've received there has paid for tools and materials, travel, and most recently a brand new laptop, which is far better for editing than my reconditioned PC, and is fast enough to try streaming some craft projects on Twitch too, something I've wanted to try for a while now. Thank you so much everyone. None of my grand plans and dreams would be even vague possibilities without you. And from my Amazon wishlists, Amber Glavin kindly bought this book, which has mixed reviews on Amazon, but a few of them say there are similarities to Terry Pratchett, so I wanted to give it a try. It's next on my reading list. Louise Guerin, whose generosity amazes me, has bought some new heat-resistant gloves for when I next fire up my forge. For anyone who hasn't seen the video of the first time, I kinda set fire to my last pair. No burns to my skin though, so they did the job, and hopefully I've learned the lesson that such gloves are only rated to about 500 degrees Celsius. If anyone knows where I can find gloves with an EN 4076 heat resistance rating, please do let me know. In the meantime, I'll attach some rebar to make a longer spoon, and try to be more careful. The very kind person who bought a pack of drawing pens, 2 sketchbooks, a spray can of satin varnish, and 3 very useful storage boxes, wishes to remain anonymous. I've already made use of the storage boxes, and the varnish, and the pens, and it's only a matter of time before the sketchbooks get used too. Not the most glamorous things off my wish list, but very, very useful to me, so thank you so much, Anonymous. There was another purchase by A.D. Smith. I hope you don't mind, AD, but it'll appear in the next video rather than this one. While I was away, I temporarily changed the address on my wish list and had it sent to my dad's house, so it wouldn't be left on the doorstep, possibly getting rained on or taken, and I haven't had a chance since getting back to go and collect it. Thank you so much though, what you bought will be very useful. I do hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, then any way you choose to show appreciation is very much appreciated. I hope you're looking after yourselves and loved ones as best you can. Thank you all very much for watching, and for now, goodbye.